Hi. Today's reading is going to be Care Work and the Stakes of Social Media Refusal by Laura Portwood Stacer. The reading basically talks about social media refusal and its consequences. The author uses a feminist standpoint to explain the whole concept of media refusal. Basically, to define what media refusal is, it's like the conscious refusal of using media, whether it's like technologies or the platform or anything that has to do with media. She explains that some people do break up with social media, but what she's going to be talking about is the conscious refusal of using it because you know the implications, like the capitalistic implications of using social media and online media. And some people know that they're performing unpaid labor for their use of social media. And this is because through your use of social media, you generate value for the owners of the networks or like the social media influencers, if you will. So you provide background and demographic background and behavioral background for them. And this makes users more financially valuable to them, and the most valuable users are the ones um, that keep generating this information and data for them to analyze and use. So welcome to Hannah's Thoughts Corner. This is where I put my thoughts about what she's saying into the video. And so my thought on this about refusing media as a whole because of this whole capitalistic intention, I get it because we all hate capitalism. But at the same time, I feel like it's somewhat technologically deterministic to kind of refuse just based on that because sure, you're generating value for them, but also you're provided a service back in a sense. Like you're provided entertainment, you're provided information and content, and you're not paying for it. And I do understand that sometimes like you like they like for example YouTubers or social media influencers tell you to like and comment and whatever and share so you can boost the value of their work, but at the same time you could just not do that. I understand it's care work, but you're not it's not like it's labor as in in a company where you're required to perform effective labor, but at the same time you're not required to do that. You could just it kind of strips agency from the user as if they're required and they have to, but they don't. They do it because they want to see more of the content. And kind of when you do comment, like, and share, it kind of tells the creator themselves that they would like this kind of content to be produced. That's my personal thoughts on it. Back to the video. So, the author mentions the use of effective labor in social media and in work in general, which is a very immaterial thing because you're producing experiences and feelings and community building through when you boost the value of work. So it's hard for you to be paid and companies to see this effective labor because it's an immaterial sort of labor. And so the author mentions that the effective labor of online media work is similar to that of women's household work because both are unpaid, yet both add value into the economy and add value to work. Okay, so back to Hannah's corner of thoughts. So I would like to argue that effective labor, in my opinion, can be measured and it can be paid because let's take social media work for example. You can check the data and the response back to effective labor, and I'm pretty sure you can't measure how much emotionality and care work you put into creating an experience for the user, but at the same time, you can see the responses back and you can measure somewhat how. So, in general, I just think that it's not that it's as immaterial as scholars make it out to be. And like, I understand it's difficult to measure, but at the same time, it's more that people don't want to see it and they don't want to pay other people to do it. So it's just like, we can't pay you if we can't see it. So yeah, that's my thought on that. However, the author mentions that not all people can have the privilege of media refusal because their careers depend on it and their relationships depend on it, and there are many other values and factors that go into being active somewhat daily on social media and keeping up these connections and interactions. So it's not as easy as it's made out to be. She uses the concept that not everyone has the privilege of media refusal, and she compares it to that of women's work and like effective labor and care work, since to be on social media and to do women's work both require care work, which is like to support others and to contribute to society and to build some sort of community. So the author explores the platform of Facebook, where like people need Facebook to keep up their career, and not in a sense of self-branding for their own career, but in order to keep up relationships and create social capital. And she explains that like you don't just do this through just sending a friend request and you're done, but like you have to put time out of your day to nurture and build these relationships for networking and creating social capital. All of these forms of communication and building and nurturing these relationships is care work. And she also uses the examples of keeping up with family and friends through Facebook, like, for example, celebrating a birthday, creating gatherings, wishing them happy birthday on their timeline. And it's also all form of care work because people expect you to stay on there and care. And that's how you show care in the 21st century, I guess, because the social public has gone on to the online platforms. He further on elaborates that not being present on Facebook and these social media outlets, not wishing happy birthday, not celebrating, nothing, can wreck social ties, and she's seen examples of that. And so people who are aware of the care work that goes into using social media still stay because their family and friends that aren't aware of this expect them to stay, and they expect them to perform this kind of care work to maintain relationships. And she mentions the fact that women tend to stay on Facebook more than men because they're innately expected to perform this kind of care work because they're the ones who create social gatherings, they communicate, they keep updated with the gossip and everything. And like she realized that like men tend to interact less or be on social media less, and they're proud of it. However, they still do benefit from it because like these men, like their sisters, their wives, daughters, whoever, the women in their lives, keep them updated. Like women keep up with this care work online, but then they give it to the men. So even though the man doesn't know about the social gathering through social media, they know it through a woman in their life. So they attend these social gatherings, but they're not putting the care work, emotional labor of maintaining social media like women. The author tries to communicate the emotional labor and effective labor that goes into using social media through a feminist framework. And that's one way we can understand it in a sense. And it also reflects through other readings and other literature that study social media and effective labor that it explains that women are usually hired to do these kinds of things. That's why, like, women are hired to social media manage or whatever. So they take the domestic part of social media and women's work on social media and kind of put it into the capitalist economy for them to do. So they're like, might as well. They're doing it at home, so they could do it at work and be paid very little for it. But yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching the video.